Hello and welcome to this glorious Monday morning. I'm Winn. I'm here with Deborah Sudarsky. We are so happy to be with you today and look at the coming week and how to navigate the coming the energies this week. So let's just begin as usual by tapping into our own selves and connecting with something greater than ourselves, that combination of ourselves and the bigger field. Just begin by taking a breath and arriving, receiving yourself, letting go of any of the past stories, future stories, and just arriving into the moment. Welcoming yourself, the whole of you, the known parts of you, the unknown parts of you. If you're familiar with your human design, welcome your particular unique design. Just take a moment to smile at it, smile at you. And then call on the highest organizing principle that you relate to. Maybe it's Archangel Michael, maybe it's Christ or Mary or Amachi or Tara or Kali, or maybe it's the universe, maybe it's spirit. Whatever that would be, take a moment and just open your heart and receive the blessings. Ask for support and guidance, that you can hear what you need to hear today, that we're asking that we can let come through us what needs to be spoken. And just rest for a moment in the knowing that the universe has our back. We're all in this together. And I think I'll pause there and just let you come in there, Deborah, with your story. And
Yeah, so I was gonna start with a story, but I'm gonna first. I don't always use the cards when we do our weekly meeting, but today I decided to go into the cards, and this one uh, is Heal the Ouch. And you might see a little raccoon physician, healer, and the fox. I love both of these characters. And again, this is the Enchanted Map Oracle cards from Colette Baron Reed. And I, I have to say, at first I was like, oh, is this card for me? Because this is very relevant for me. But I also think, again, I kept asking the guides, is this for everyone? So I'm putting this out because it segues into my story, which is that we have been having a challenging time. It's been a challenging time for me and my family. And last week, I decided to listen to the advice that Robin and I have been talking about. And I went down, I'm fortunate enough to be right near the beach, and I went down and sat by the ocean, and I actually lay in the sand. And one of the questions that comes up for me often from some of my clients are, how do I tap into the divine? And so I want to share with you, I was really struggling with a lot of things that were happening. And as I was lying on the beach, I realized I wanted to go through all the things I feel so grateful for. And once I sort of got on that roll, it sort of took off. And I suddenly was like, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for that. And all that is amazing. And I realized all the blessings that I have. And then as I was lying on the beach, I was filled with this incredible light. It was so powerful, but it was also physical. Like I could feel, it wasn't like a mental. So often people say, oh, it's just, it doesn't feel relevant to me, or I can't really identify with it. But this was physical. Like I felt such incredible peace, but also this amazing light. And suddenly my gratitude list was thank you for this experience. And I sat with it in what felt like a meditation for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And I just felt so enormously grateful. And I felt this incredible light. And I sat up and I took some deep breaths and I tried to just embrace it, feel it throughout my body. And as I walked back, uh, to my home, I realized, okay, that's all I need. I don't really need anything else. And I have that available to me whenever I want it. I just have to remember to be quiet, to find some nature to help me resonate with that energy and that peace. And I came back up, and there were, in fact, some things to have to continue to deal with. But I had this whole different sense of feelings about it. And so when I look at Heal the Ouch, my feeling about this week is it still continues an opportunity for a lot of healing for those who are still healing from the previous year of what COVID looked like. I know in Los Angeles, where I live, the COVID, a lot of those priorities are going back, protocols are going back. We're going to be back in masks and all that kind of thing. There's a lot of conversation where I live about how people feel about it, whether they're happy that it's happening or I can't believe we're going back to this. And so, I think with some of these protocols and restrictions, it's kind of just a reminder that we have access in ourselves to feel this incredible love and light, and it's available. We just have to remember to go and find it, whether it's by sitting in nature or taking a moment to meditate in your own home or getting flowers or whatever self-care you do. This is a really valuable, important message to heal the ouch. It's a great opportunity for some healing. That was the message.
Thank you, Deborah. And I'll just say that when you first said you wanted to start with a story and that you had picked this card and you didn't know if it was just for you, I then told you about an ouch I had, and we did a little healing. And little, I don't even shouldn't even use that word. I so appreciate your capacity to clear energy and bring healing, a certain ray of healing. I mean, yes, we all have it, right? We all have that capacity, and that's what you teach and guide people to do. But just today to be the recipient of it, because sometimes when we're in our own selves, it's hard to tap into it. And I do think like going to nature is phenomenal for that. Yeah. So
And sometimes when it's us, we use that lens and we start thinking these sort of like, I would say it's like a microaggression. You sort of, oh, well, this doesn't ever work out. And then it sort of steamrolls. And then suddenly you're feeling funky. And the reality is, as we clear our energy and we tap into the divine, we get back into that feeling of excitement, hope, opportunity, positivity. And we have to be vigilant because when we're not feeling those things, we may be holding on to other energies or things that don't belong to us, or maybe we haven't cleared a situation in our own lives that have happened and we're still sort of carrying some residual energy and it's sort of just taking us down a notch. So when you're not feeling 100%, it's a great opportunity to get back out there in the world and connect to the things that really restore your vibrancy.
yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna shift into talking about human design in terms of all of this. And you see my screen okay there, Deborah?
No. Yes. No, I do.
Okay, great. So here's the gig. Last week we talked about the sun being in 62, the details, and the earth in 61, the mind of God or reaching into the mind of God, wonder. So it was really about taking the time to connect with the wonder of God and letting the details show up out of that connection. This week, the sun is in the gate of the storyteller, the gate 56. Now, that's why it was so funny when Deborah said, "I'm going to start by telling a story." And I've spent the weekend at a conference on storytelling. Um, so, but storytelling is an interesting thing. It's, as you can see, it's one of the gates off the throat. It's right brain energy. And when Deborah was talking about, you have these thoughts and they can be really negative, and you can tell yourself a negative story. You didn't exactly say that, but that's kind of what you're intimating. So what happens here with the storyteller is that we can tell any kind of story, right? We can tell a story of expansion, as Karen Curry Parker talks about in Quantum Human Design. The low end of that story is we can expand whatever negative thing we're talking about. If we have an owie and we, become trapped in it and victimized by it, we can suffer a lot rather than doing the self care, doing the healing of that wound, whatever that wound is. So the earth is in gate 60, which is called limitation or conservation. This is individual energy. And if you think of it, it's like the lotus coming out of the mud. It's out of some kind of constriction or structure that we birth something new. So let's say we have a story of limitation, right? Most of us can find a story of limitation, some challenge, some problem, right? Some issue. And what we're wanting to do is create a new story so that we take that energy of limitation and we birth a new path with that, right? It's powerful medicine this week. This is really a week to look at what stories are you telling yourself and how can you upgrade them? How can you re-look at those stories and create a new story that will serve you, right? This is energy off the throat. The throat manifests. What you speak, what you say, in the beginning was the word, you create. You are creating with your stories. What story do you want to create in your life? This is this is not kids play. This is powerful. And I invite you to take a look at the story that you're telling about who you are, um, what you're doing, what you want to be doing, and consider that you can rewrite the story, right? Are you having a thought there, Deborah?
Well, the thing that really hits me is that in the story that I shared about experiencing that incredible light and bright energy by using the tools of appreciation, I did go beyond a limitation. I was feeling extremely limited. I was feeling extremely frustrated in a way. And like I had all this stuff on me. And by really digging deep and really connecting, starting with raising my vibration, thinking about things that I felt so much appreciation for, it wasn't just a mental game, it became an experience. And I think being able to transcend our limitation is one of the gifts we have here on earth. That's what we're here to do. We're here to challenge ourselves and expand. And I read something in this week that felt really resonant for me, which is that everyone in our lives is here for either two reasons. Either one, they're here to help us, or they're here to teach us. And so, just looking at life from that point of view, you realize we're here for things to move us along. And when the limitations feel enormous, we feel encumbered, we feel in a way sort of stuck. and we can dig deep and find this gold. So we have opportunities, and storytelling just segued in perfectly today because that is an opportunity for expansion.
I I really appreciate what you just said, and it tripped a memory for me or something I wanted to speak to, which is we're not doing spiritual bypass here. We're not pretending like the limitation isn't there, right? We're recognizing it, we're acknowledging it, we're working within it, we're using the mulch of it. In the diamond work, we talk about you go into the whole, HOLE, you go into the whole of whatever that feeling or that experience is. You so say it's a lack of support. Maybe you're feeling the lack of support. You go into the whole of the lack of support. And as you really allow yourself to feel it and experience it, it's almost like being pushed down in a river and you pop back up, right? You come out into the place where you realize, oh my God, there is support everywhere. Maybe it wasn't in the way I was thinking it should come, right? But it's everywhere. There is support. The chair is. Remember Byron Katie saying that one. It's the floor is supporting you. The chair is supporting you. Oh my gosh, there's so much support here for us. So whatever that limitation, whatever that owie, however it shows up, physical, mental, emotional, however that shows up, to not just bury it and tell a new story that's a better story. That's not going to work. You're going to get pulled back into that negative story and feel like a failure. And that's not what we want, right? We want to really heal that. And like you were saying, Deborah, take the frequency of that story to a higher level, not abandon that.
Yeah, I love that you keep talking about not doing spiritual bypass because, we're not trying to shove uncomfortable feelings away because they'll continue. We live in an energetic vibrational world. And so vibration continues around us, and we want to continue to see it in the most positive way. But, you know, identifying and connecting with it is the most powerful way to actually transcend it so that it can become something different.
It transforms. Then the energy is transformed, right? It doesn't just get pressed down and come up in another bigger way, right? It gets
Exactly.
transformed.
Yeah.
So I want to say this one thing about this because this is root energy, right? It's coming from the root, raw root energy. The root energy is saying something wants to, it's trying to make it to the throat. Raw energy, like something wants to be birthed. It doesn't care if it's negative or positive. This energy does not care, right? This energy wants to tell a story. It doesn't care if it's a negative or positive story. But together, they're creating their creation. This is like, let's birth something, and this is, let's tell a story. Speaking is creating. This energy is trying to get to that spoken story, right? So it's kind of like we need to be mindful of this energy. Like we're going to be telling a story one way or another. Which story are we going to be telling? Which energy are we going to be using here? Birthing here? So this goes until anything else you want to say about all that, Deborah?
No, I'm smiling because this is my mom's birthday, and my mom had had some really devastating things happen at the early stages of her life, and she really was able to transform into such a positive way. And so I'm seeing how this connects to her. But I love the theme, which is about transformation and possibility and not feeling limited, even though sometimes our circumstances feel limiting, but digging deep to find ways of transforming by changing how we experience it, how we feel it, how we see it, and creating some positive energy through that process.
Yeah, and I to let your thank you for sharing the story about your mom's birthday. That's I love it when goes into context. I'm going to start bringing up people's birthdays during this time so we have a context. Um, but the thing about this workshop I was at, this relational presence conference, was the stories. When we tell stories from our presence, right, from our essential selves, not from our ego selves, that's where we make the shift,
Mm.
right? Because the ego is all about lack and lack of possibility, right? It's about deprivation. It's based on that. That's the foundation of it, where our essential selves are based on wholeness, fullness, pure possibility. So I love when Karen Curry Parker uses the word expansion. We have an opportunity to expand, to tap into the essence of who we are and speak the story of the truth of who we are. So that's the invitation for you guys this week, for all of us, for me, to speak the truth story of who we are, the whole story, not the limited egoic story, right? Use that, but speak the whole. It's the both and.
And that is how you heal the ouch. You got
Yeah,
to bring in the whole piece so that you can transform some of that ouch.
it's beautiful. Just want to say one more thing before we wrap up here, and I'm going to share the 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 transits that we're moving into on the, did that come up? Let's see, the
It's not
25th.
here
So
you go.
we're just going to start. I'm not going to say a lot about this, but just you'll know on the 25th, the sun is. So we're taking this storytelling, this rising out of limitation, really, that lotus blooming from the mud, and we step into a position of leadership and imagining what's possible for humanity. This is kind of the new story we're stepping into. We're taking leadership from our story, right? So I'm just planting that seed. We'll talk about it a little bit more next week, but I wanted you to know that we are moving into, it's not just telling our story. Eventually, we're going to be the leader with our story. Anything else you'd like to say, Deborah?
No, I just so grateful. I like watching how these two points of view tie together, and we are moving into Leo. Leo's particularly one of my faves because my moon is in Leo, and it's a really different energy than the Cancer energy we've been having. So that is coming up as well.
So, saying Leo and leadership, I want to also acknowledge that we had a little chat, and you said you're really taking the summer off, working on your book, and not really seeing clients or teaching right now. But starting in September, you're going to be teaching an Embrace Your Psychic Gifts class. Is that the class you're?
Yeah, psychic development class,
Psychic.
and also yeah, I'm in the process of putting that together right now, uh, and then we'll be doing the spirit guides class in a few weeks as well.
So you can just be thinking about if you have a resonance to that, a call to that. And starting in August, I'm going to be um, facilitating the Foundations of Human Design certification course for professionals. So if you have a hankering to, if you're called to step into human design at another level and really want to embrace it and ground in it and use it potentially with your clients, now is a good time. Reach out to me, let me know, and I'll send you an application.
It's incredibly powerful, and I think um, having done one of Robin's classes, it's you learn more than you imagine. It's really great.
Yeah. You learn and you transform. It's big. It's big medicine. It's
Big medicine.
it's big medicine. Yeah, for those who are called and ready. With that, I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Let's just take a moment and put our hands on our hearts. Just remember how magnificent we are with all of our limitations. Invite ourselves to tell a new story this week that includes the whole of us, that includes pure possibility, that includes what we're here to do, who we're here, who we're meant to be, that includes the transformation from the person we think we are to the person we actually are. Just taking a moment to give thanks to all the high beings, all the seen and unseen forces that support us on our journey. And with that, we offer blessings for all of humanity, and that we may become even more skillful this week in navigating the energies ahead. With that, we say thank you and wish you
No,
well,
thank you, thank you, thank you,
and look forward to seeing you next week.
thank you.